entitled, as Mom just said, The Tax Audit by Darlene Van Workhoven. The farmer had lived 50 years and never figured he owed the government anything because he never earned anything. Life on the farm had been harsh during the Great Depression, and even all these years, it was still a struggle. His son-in-law, who had a prominent position in the community, began to worry over his father-in-law's neglect of never having filed his income taxes, even if he never showed a profit. After many argumentative conversations lasting several years, the farmer finally relented and allowed his son-in-law to prepare his first tax return. He remembers that well. Getting the headstrong old man on the road to lawful compliance was a major accomplishment, and things seemed to go smoothly for a number of years. And of course, it was thoroughly understood whose duty it was to prepare his taxes. One morning, 13 years after he'd filed his first tax return, a knock came at the farmhouse door just after the farmer and his wife were finishing breakfast, about 9:30. That's how Grandpa was.
Yeah?
Are you Mr. Stice?
Why, yes, I am.
Kenneth Miller, IRS agent. I've come to audit your taxes. May I come in?
Why, yes, come on in, young man. Get the can out of here. Get out of here. Louise!
May I put this here?
We got a tax man here with us, Louise. He's a tax man.
It's pretty heavy. I brought my
Well, sit down there, young boy.
She wiped her hands on her apron, cleared the kitchen table to make room for the adding machine. The tax agent asked to see their returns for the last 5 years. She located them in the back room and piled them on a chair beside him. He sat stiffly at attention, all set to begin.
Well, I hope you don't need me, young man. I've got to go take care of the cows. They're ready to be milked, fed, herded. Yeah, I'll be back lately.
There you go, Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mrs. Stice. Let's see if this works.
Oh,
good.
it's alive.
They've got electricity. That's good.
The farmer's wife found it a little uncomfortable doing the dishes and sweeping the floor with an auditor in her kitchen. But she went about her household chores, humming softly as usual, as she studied the papers, and as he studied the papers and added up some figures on his calculator. In about an hour, the farmer returned stomping his work shoes at the back porch and walked into the kitchen in his stocking feet. There was something reminiscent of the barn about his person.
Well, here I am, young man. Here I am.
Great. It's good to see you. We've been working really diligently here. And Mr. Stice, can you tell me how much money do you think you made last year?
Well, let's see. Well, the cash I have in here is how much money I made. Right there, $14. That's the money I made last year.
Didn't necessarily add up right. Mr. Stice, how did you figure that?
Well, this is my bank. Right here, this is my bank. I keep track of everything all right.
So how do you keep track of your expenses?
Well, I got every check that people have written to me that didn't work, that weren't right. Okay, thank you. Every check that bounced is in this here wallet. And I got several IOUs from people. Okay, the customers, and there are people who still owe me money, so it's all right here in this here bank of mine.
But I still don't understand your system.
Well, it's simple. Any bill I get, I keep the slip. I pay all of my bills. So if you count up all the bills, and that's how much money I have that I took in, and what's left, that's the cash in my wallet. What's left? After I pay my bills.
So you don't keep a ledger?
Louise,
I'll go get it.
bring our bills in for this man.
The farmer's wife went into the back bedroom and rummaged around the closet and brought a large brown grocery bag full of slips of paper.
Here they are, add them up.
There must have been hundreds of scraps of paper in that bag that would take the auditor the rest of the day to run a tape on them. In the meantime, the farmer and his wife watched their favorite program on TV, The Price is Right. Afterwards, the wife rested on a couch and the farmer retired to his assigned place on the floor in the hallway. Because he always wore his overalls, he was not allowed to dirty up any bedspreads. So she had laid out a few newspapers on the floor in the hallway, and that's where he and their little chihuahua took their afternoon naps. He did have one luxury, a pillow for his head.
Yeah, there's my pillow. Louise.
Later in the afternoon, the elderly couple went outside to mend a fence on the south side of their house, since the cattle had broken out and invaded their neighbor's property. Toward evening, the farmer's wife asked the auditor what she should do about their dinner supper, since her table was covered with papers.
We've got a delicious roast and carrots and potatoes and homemade bread. Would you like to stay for dinner?
Yeah, you may as well stay and eat with us.
No thanks, Mr. Stice. It would be better if I left. Is it okay if I leave my trusty adding machine here?
Oh,
And
sure.
I'll just take some of these
Boy,
documents,
no problem.
and we'll be back in the morning.
Boy, all right.
I'll let you get back to the things.
Got it down.
Bye now.
Have a good night. Boy, where's my bus?
And your milk toast. Oh, milk toast. Upon arrival the next morning, the auditor said,
Come on in, tax
Me
man.
again. It's good to be here. Okay, yeah, get started.
Sit down there, boy.
Okay, so, appreciate that. I noticed in going over your taxes late last night that you have a used car business.
Yes, I'm a bonded dealer. I've been a bonded dealer since 1936.
Well, I'm gonna need to see your official papers. That's all there is to it. Do you have those?
I'll get them, boy.
Okay, grab them down there, Louise. Get my car dealer business. Here's where I keep all the papers on my car business, right there.
Right there. Okay, well, it's very well organized.
he pulled some crumpled pieces of paper from the box, showing that he'd paid the state sales tax within 30 days of every sale. The car business was very complex, and the rest of the morning was spent on the subparts of that particular operation. The auditor questioned every item he could think of until he seemed satisfied that everything was pretty much in order. It was difficult getting accustomed to the barter system, the farmer had developed for this newly minted auditor.
Okay, so Mr. Stice, looks like that's reasonably in order. But in your other lines of business, I didn't see any W-2s in your tax returns. Does that mean that you are totally self-employed?
Well, yes, I guess you could say that. My main work is on the farm here, right here, although my cattle seem to be my boss. I have to be here to feed them morning, night, do the milking.
So what else do you raise on the farm?
Well, cattle mainly. Since I've started getting older, I can't plant the crops like I used to, and then my daughters, they up and left me here with this big farm. And so I don't have the help now that I used to. So now my cattle work for me. They eat the grasses, keep things down under control, and they fertilize the property just fine for me. And then, when they're ready, I sell them off. They're beef cattle, you know.
How many do you have?
Well, last time I counted, I had 86. But during calving season, it's really hard to figure out how many you got. Those mother cows, they take off all over the farm, and I don't know, just the other day I found a mother cow who had a calf right in the ditch. And if I wouldn't have found that little calf there, it would have drowned for sure. So those cows, they're all over the place, and you know what? It's just how it is.
So,
Right, Mama?
It was pitiful,
Thank you.
just pitiful.
I can imagine. That's pretty good acting.
how much do you usually sell them for?
Well, the price varies, but on a good year, I can get 80 cents on the hoof.
80 cents per pound on the hoof? Why, you've got quite an inventory there, haven't you? How much profit do you make on each sale?
Well, sometimes nothing. It takes 2 years to raise a cow, okay, ready to go to the market. And by the time you pay for the hay and the grain and pay the irrigation water and all that they eat through 2 winters, well, boy, I'll tell you, sometimes I go in the hole instead of making anything. Some winters I paid as much as $6,000. $6,000 for hay.
But you must find it somehow worthwhile, don't you? I mean, you've been doing this for many years.
Well, yeah.
Let's just track down, for instance, if you sold 1 beef cattle. What do you think, what would you do with the money?
Well, usually I buy coal. So if I buy coal or hay, that's where the money goes.
Okay, so I'm glad that you raised the coal business issue. I was just going to ask you all about that. I see in your personal